Hey, good morning, everybody. This is B from Kongs R Us, and happy Saturday. It's morning for me. It's about 9:30 in the Los Angeles, California area. Now, folks are joining from all over the country on the East Coast. I heard somebody from Canada. Hey, John. Hey, Sean is here. I saw some folks that are in the chat, so feel free to join in. I'll probably be going for about an hour, hour and a half or so, and the goal for today is to do some more live gameplay of this. So I have a GRS Yoke right in front of me. So this is my GRS Yoke that I got from Glenn's Retro Show for my Kickstarter. I backed him up a long time ago, and I've been excited to do some more custom mapping to this for my Star Wars playlist. And here, right below it, what it's mounted to is a 99 Lives Star Wars Yoke control panel from Greg Zaker. Awesome guy for 99 lives. In fact, I still owe him a review of this panel, so I will be doing that soon and be talking all things Star Wars GRS Yoke. So if you have any questions about modding your Star Wars, or if you're interested in getting a yoke yourself or anything about the control panel, I'm happy to answer any questions as we go through this kind of live chat and we get going, everybody. So here we go. I'm going to be sharing my screen now on my second PC and show you guys a little bit of my LaunchBox playlist. But again, I had it mapped for a modded yoke previously using an APAC, and now we are using a GRS yoke. So again, we'll be going through some live gameplay as well, which should be fun. So today should be pretty chill. If you have questions or desires to, make a build yourself, this is also a nice little video to show you guys how to um, work with your emulators and do some controller mappings for some of the difficult emulators that you may have trouble with. So I'll go through at least Sega Model 2. MAME's pretty easy. I'll go through Sega Model 3 as well, just to kind of give you guys a rundown on how to map controls for that. So let me share my screen and share my audio here and hit the share button. So all right, there it is. So there is the screen for my LaunchBox build. And so yeah, I'm just checking chat to see if there's any questions. John, you've asked to die for to make a one-of-a-kind control deck, but shipping would kill you. Yes, we're both in California, so shipping to Kenyatta may not be your best option. But Greg from 99 Lives is closer to you. He's in Niagara Falls, so um, I don't know if that's closer to you. I don't know which side of Canada you're in, but he can do some custom work too. So awesome. All right, so what's up, Dick? What's going on? All right, so let's start off with some easy things first. So here's my playlist with everything. I'm gonna start off with my classic racing playlist because all of these mostly run on MAME, but they just need to be individually mapped in the MAME emulator. There's some universal controls you can do like start and coin, but the actual gas and brake pedals for all these classic racing games actually needs to be done in the game itself. So we're going to open each one up, hit the tab menu in MAME, and then go through the custom mapping controls for everything. So before I do that, just a little bit about the GRS yoke itself. So when this plugs into your PC, I'll just show you really quickly. If you want to check out your controller mappings, you just go to your start menu, go to USB controller setup, and you'll see this BL flight yoke here. When you double click on it and open it, so this now should register. You should be able to see your yoke move nice and freely. You don't have to do any calibration with anything. It's really easy to plug it in. It registers, and then your triggers register. Also, your bottom right trigger is button number 1. The bottom left is button number 2. Top right is button number 3, and top left is button number 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. The stock buttons underneath the yoke, the one on the left hand side registers as button number 7, and the one on the right registers as button number 8. What I did was I have a couple other videos where I show you how you can add button 5 and 6 into the GRS yoke using some different um, connectors that come with the yoke. So I have buttons 5 and 6 registered to these two buttons here. So I have a total of 8 buttons on my GRS yoke, and that's usually a really great number of buttons to play a lot of games, especially arcade games. You don't really need that many buttons for arcade games. You may have trouble later on with if you're trying to emulate some console games that require more buttons. So yeah, this is the GRS yoke and the setup for everything. George, you are so right. He says the GRS yoke is much heavier than the A1 Up. It's built like a tank. I completely agree in terms of build quality compared to the arcade one up. this shaft or this whole thing is metal, and so it runs really smoothly. It's weird though, because like the spring tension on moving it left and right is pretty good and comparable to the stock one, but the spring tension on this side is way loose. So like when you're playing it, it's kind of like moving at different tension speeds, but you kind of get used to it. Like that was just one of the things I noticed because it's a lot stiffer on the stock arcade one up. But that's just the quick rundown on the differences. All right. So that's the yoke itself. That's how it registers on your PC if you're plugging it in and checking it out, and that's key because you have to remember where your controls are in order to map things out. So when I play racing games using the yoke, because the yoke is perfect steering wheel as well, I have my top right button as my gas and my top left button as brake for most games. And then for games that have shooting attached to it, then I use the triggers on the bottom to like shoot. So if you're playing, a game like Spy Hunter, right? So it's perfect. You can use your gas button, and then this is your start brake. And I originally, when I got my yoke and I was doing these racing builds, I always thought it would be cool to like move it forward as like a kind of like a motorcycle wheel to like move forward and gas. But actually, that got tiring to like have that set up as your gas and brake. So I usually just have this as gas and brake as a button. It's not as cool as a pedal, but it works. It works really universally pretty well. So let's get into some of this mapping. I like be the family guy. Thanks, Dick. Appreciate that. All right, so we're going to open up Buggy Boy. I already have this playlist set up. So once it loads up, we're going to hit the tab button, jump into this game's controls, and then gear change. So I have some of my old controls mapped to my APAC playlist. So I'm just going to remap it to the buttons that are corresponding on the yoke now. Okay, and then I've already pre-mapped, and I have the coin button to button number 7 on the or like in MAME. It actually, it's kind of weird. I hate how some emulators make buttons button number 0 instead of button number 1. So I always have to remember which emulator has a button 0 versus like a button 1 or something like that. So yeah, so 1 now is button 0 here in MAME. Okay, and so the buttons 6 and 7 are the coins. So all my starts are the ones on the start button on the left on the GRS Yoke, and then this one on the right is the coin button. So all those are already set. And there are some analog settings, but since we're using buttons, we really don't need to mess with any of that stuff. So let's go ahead and enter some coins and start the game. It's off-road. I usually don't play games super long. I usually just test to make sure that they're working and going. So we got our gas going. Looking good so far. The turning sensitivity is pretty bad, or at least it's really sensitive. So that's something that I can probably mess with the analog settings. But since it's the steering wheel analog sensitivity is really off. So that's another thing too with a lot of these games too. So let's adjust the sensitivity settings. So even though the wheel axis is set, oh, it's a dial. So that's the thing about this. So this is a game that doesn't use a traditional paddle wheel that moves back to center. It's a dial setting. So for folks that don't know, dials are like if you're playing. Oh, I just exited the game. If you're playing a game like Off Road, if you remember Off Road, right, just has that free spinning wheel that just moves around, so it doesn't go back to center. So those games are actually really hard to control, like on the analog settings. I can try to set my dial digital sensitivity down. Let's actually turn it down because it was really sensitive when I was driving. All right, let's try that. Again, this is just an open live modding session, so you'll see all the little tidbits of trying to get your control settings just right. Nothing's ever perfect in plug and play and emulation. So hopefully you guys can just see a little bit of the background that it takes to get some of these playlists working. Sorry, I kicked myself off the stream. My mouse did that. All right, here we go. All right. So here is all right. That's a little bit better. So I turned down the sensitivity and the dial pretty far down, but now at least when I turn, it doesn't like turn crazily. There we go. Can you jump in this game? Is that what you're supposed to do? I'm not like I don't play enough of these games to know exactly what you're supposed to do with each buggy. But besides just how, I think there was like a what is it? There's a exit. There's a gear change button, but there's no like jump button or anything. I just keep running into these giant rocks. I don't know if that's supposed to be what I'm doing, but all right, at least it works. That's the key thing. At least it works. Up, and I'm already done. Well, that's enough of that game. All right, let's do Championship Sprint as the next one. All right, so this is the game that definitely uses a wheel setting. It's kind of like an off-road game where it just spins around. Those games are actually kind of hard to play on the Yoke because you're not like spinning the wheel to move it. So it does definitely take some of the sensitivity settings. All right. All right, so here we go. This is this game's controls. Pedal analog 1 or none. Increase this. All right, so here we're going to change this to that button. That's it. Okay, let's see if this works. All right, we're going to exit out of this, press the game. All right, press pedal to start race. It's on the blue one that's crashing pretty hard. Championship Sprint. This is a fun game. I know there's folks that really like these types of racing games. I actually used to really like these racing games when I was like younger, especially off-road. But man, this is hard. It's hard with the yoke. I think the dial settings are a little bit off, but I think they work okay. They're not too sensitive. I just have to get used to it. Maybe I should not have done the live gameplay component because then you can see how bad I am at playing some of my own games. That's okay. That's what it takes practice, right? Complete one lap. Come on. Pretty sad. There it is. I'm not even gonna complete one lap before I finish the race. All right, I did one lap. I'm satisfied with this game. Everything's working. So that's Championship Sprint. There it goes. I do have Spy Hunter Dick, and so in terms of like the playlist itself, I do have the setup that at least you can get the setup for everything. So I have a link to my Facebook group in the description for the YouTube video that you can definitely join and get some more information on getting Starcade Playlist 2.0. All right, so Chase HQ. This is a fun game too. This is the classic one where I think that the main point of this game is that you're chasing somebody, and then you need to like actually crash into them in order for you to win the race. You're not actually racing somebody, you're like trying to crash them. So, at least the newer version of it. I don't remember playing this older version. The buttons map to it. Start. Release your monitor. Go.
Let's go, Mr. Driver.
Let's go, Mr. Driver. See my target. Oh, there's a white little target on this. Sorry, my screen is actually to the left, but I'm sharing my other screen on the right. So you may see me looking down and to the left at the real thing, because if I look at the screen, I'm going to be a little bit late and a little laggy. So.
Where you going, man?
Classic racing games are fun, but again, I don't. Turbo.
Oh no!
Oh man, I totally blow at these things.
Please!
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be chasing somebody? I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing. Time's up already. Again, I don't claim to be. Try a little bit more.
we think you picked the wrong job. Better check your
Typing
classified
more
ads.
Alright, I'm over this game already. Okay, we're gonna escape and exit out of this. Alright, Enduro Racer is our next one. Ooh, this is a motorcycle game. So we're gonna hit tab, go to this game's controls. So we already have our x-axis and everything set up. Now we're going to map the pedal, which is button number 5 on my old button. Now it's button number 2. Great. Perfect. Alright, let's try it out. Enduro Racer was out of our Man, wouldn't it be cool if somebody built like a full-size 3/4 scale motorcycle rig? I think on one of my shows a while ago, I had hinted at trying to build a full size, not a full size, a 3/4 scale stun runner cab, which a stun runner kind of is just like one of those things where you sit on a giant block that looks like it could be a futuristic motorcycle, but you can do a motorcycle type of game with that too. So maybe a 3/4 scale stun runner would be my future, where I would emphasize obviously stun runners, but I think it'd be fun to add in some. All right, I totally blew at that game. Totally blew. All right. All right, so we're gonna move to F-Zero. Ooh, F-Zero is actually playing on an SNEX game. So let me just double check. I think for my SNEX, I have the emulator running on a Joy-Con profile. So let me double check. You see the Galaxy Mario's? Oh no, I don't. Okay. So yeah, if I right click on LaunchBox for the game, so I'm in my LaunchBox big box build. So once everything's in here, if you right click on the game, you can see which emulator it runs on. And so this is running on SNEX 9X. And when this pops open, then you can double check your input and check your input configuration. So you can see what buttons are set up to everything. So yeah, let's go through this and make sure everything is set up. I think I have my up, down, left, right. I have button 0, 1, 2, 3, which is the A, B, X, Y, and then start select is the start button is button number 6, and that's 7. Okay, that's button 4 and 5. I think everything is already set for this SNEX emulator, so let's go ahead and test it out and double check if F-Zero is running. All right, Latif, you were just asking what the difference between the GRS Yoke and the stock RK1Up Yoke is. Jared just mentioned that the GRS Yoke is USB and the A1Up needs to be modded. Correct. So those are the big differences in the plug and play aspect of it. In terms of like build quality, again, this is a metal base, so it definitely is heavier. It feels a lot heavier. These buttons on the bottom of the yoke itself are used clicking micro switches, so that's a big difference in terms of feel. But the top ones are just regular ones, so that's kind of weird. And there's no logo on here, obviously, but those are the main differences. There's also 2 buttons underneath the bottom here. So the GRS yoke is just for the kind of plug and play setup. All right, so F-Zero has this button has Alright, going in reverse. I'm terrible. Alright, so the left button is the how do I change that up? This is kind of awkward. I kind of want all my racing things to be the same. So that this button number 3 is. Let me go back to my emulator settings and check out what that is mapped to. X9X. All right. Okay, inputs, controller configuration. So button 3 is B. All right. So I want that to be this top right one instead. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. See, that feels a little bit better. All right. Input. Exit out of this. Exit. All right, let's try it one more time. That's part of this whole controller mapping process. If you guys are ever doing controller mapping, it's a lot of trial and error, seeing what works best for you. So this is great. Again, a lot of trial and error to make sure we can get it working. Optimize some controls if you can. Sometimes F-Zero, this feels like a futuristic racing game, and it feels pretty natural with the yoke. So bad. Yeah, and since this yoke is an analog controller, but you're emulating just a digital input, you can see that there's the range of motion on the yoke isn't going to be equal to how you're pressing it or how you're turning in the game. So for games like this that just use a left down left right, there's like you just have to turn the yoke a certain amount before the input registers, and then that's how you're going to turn. So that's why if you think there's like lag between the yoke and the controls, it's because this game particularly is just using a digital signal. And even for games that have like an analog range signal too, the yoke is a giant analog stick. So you have to move the yoke a certain range before it registers as an input. So that's another thing that you kind of have to note when people are thinking about, oh, there's some lag between I'm turning on the game. It's dependent on the game since this isn't designed to be a true racing wheel. So that's why you feel a little bit off for some games. All right, let's go into GP Rider. Already been in this for about 25 minutes already. We've only gone through 6 games, so we'll see how far we can get and try to do as much as we can. I do want to do some Model 2 emulation, so you guys can see that as well. Because this MAME is pretty straightforward, where you just go into the game itself with the tab key, and then you can map your buttons accordingly. So that's the easiest thing about MAME. I really like this setup. Okay, so that's GP Rider. Let's do a quick test. See how it's going. Thanks to anybody who's joining in. Just a chill live stream, doing some custom controller mapping. GamePlay. This is a game called GP Rider.
Automatic.
All right, look at those graphics. Ladies holding umbrellas for the motorcycle crew. That's funny. Right, here we go. Oh yeah, this feels good. This feels pretty young. We got the gas going on. Oh! Maybe I should have braked. Boom. Pretty fun. I like this game. Graphics are pretty decent, especially if you think about these types of like older racing games and what Arcade 1-Up did with like the Outrun tab. Like a lot of these games in the library definitely can be emulated with the current like hardware. So I'm curious in seeing kind of what their next gen racing tab will be after Outrun, because they have so many things in different libraries, and I know licensing is always a big thing, but if we do a motorcycle racing tab, that'd be cool. I don't think they'd ever do that though. It'd be hard to emulate motorcycle racing games on anything, but these are always fun, especially when you have like the real ones where you're kind of like moving side to side. Alright, I did one lap and I absolutely sucked, so okay, we're gonna exit the game. Go to that. All right, let's do Great Mile. Well, if you guys have never heard of this game, it's pretty cool. If you have any like game requests for specific games you might want to see, let me know in the chat. This is a fun type of racing game where it's not like a traditional straight-on racing game. It's like a diagonal racing game. So yeah, I started to like these games because they just offer a different way of racing that I didn't expect. So yeah, you're kind of racing, and then it just tells you like the view, the angle of how you're turning. It gives you a heads up if you need to turn left or right, and then that's it. So it's I also suck at all these games too. So there you go. And this isn't an analog. You're just kind of moving up, down, left, right. But man, it gives you that feel of like. This is how you make it. I know. I suck. All right, there it is. That's the Great 1,000 Mile USA Rally version. Okay, so let's do Sega. Hang on. Ooh, this is a classic racing motorcycle game. This is fun. Looks like Speed Racer. Yeah, Speed Racer. So the other reason why I'm doing all this controller mapping right now is because even though I'm using the GRS Yoke to map for everything, I'm also doing mod kits and mods using the new GeekPi encoder for the Arcade One Up um, controllers, and these button settings will be controller setup. Oh, it has some really cool music in the background. Dun, 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 dun. I kind of remember this tune. Yeah. I don't know if the volume is low just because of me or just maybe I changed the volume and see. Okay, cool. The controls are working for this. Pretty good. This is a nice, really fun game too. I like this. Simple. Sega Hang On was a really good classic. All right. Hard Drive-In. Ooh, I think this is the I think this is the 3D version of like this game was really hard to get working at first. I remember that much. This is kind of like this 3D driving simulator more than like a racing game. But it has look at all these different controls for this. Like you have to have a shifter, you have to have a steering wheel, you have to have an analog, a gas pedal. I remember being really annoyed at this game and I was trying to get it to work a long time ago. So we will see if I'm able to get this working. Clutch pedal. And you have to set up like a key button, an actual like key button to turn the engine to turn it on. So all right, let's see if I can be able to get this working. This is one of those weird games. All right, so we got my steering wheel. There's no auto clutch. Turn key to press start. All right, turn the key. And we're off and running. Super sensitive. Maybe I gotta turn down my load settings. Really bad. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This game is so hard. I think my analog settings are too hard. Let's go check out my analog control settings. Starting at 5 and 20. I'm gonna cut it in half and see if that fixes it. Steering wheel, digital speed. Okay. Turn key to start. Alright. A little bit better. I suppose a little bit more. It feels pretty sensitive. Really turning down. That's kind of how you want it. Like when you're driving a real car, you rarely turn hard and you can rarely turn. Yeah, these settings definitely feel a little bit better. So if you feel like your wheel sensitivity for any game is like really tough and going too far, go to the analog settings, especially MAME. You can adjust the settings and just kind of get it to your liking. There's no like, every controller might be a little bit different if you're using a wheel or something. So yeah, this definitely helped. I might even turn the sensitivity down because I'm barely moving it left and right and it's moving it pretty hard. Oh, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. What's up, Bobby? Bobby Boo's here, buddy. Good morning. Good morning, good friend. All right. All right. And Chase. Chris is here. Hey, Chris. Great from the UK. Working towards getting your Starcade. Got the GRS imported last week, and I'm best waiting for you to finish these updates. Yeah. So definitely, it's the mapping is taking the longest time for kind of where I want it to be with supporting anybody that wants the playlist. So I would kind of just hold off a little bit, but otherwise you'd have to do some remapping later on. So I would definitely just hold on for a little bit, and I hope to finish this processed in the next week or two. But you can see how long it's taken. I've already been streaming, and I'm talking. It's 33 minutes so far, but I've only gotten through like 10 games, and I have to go through every single game and just double check, make sure everything's working. All right, to break, it's gonna be this button. Shift is this button. We got pedal here. All right, let's delete this. Make that the shifter. Okay, so this is hot chase. Let's do some hot chase. What's up, Billy? Billy, you missed nothing. I'm just hanging out, man. Just playing some games. You never see me actually doing gameplay. Here I am. I'm just mapping out my GRS Yoke to some of the games here and testing out the settings. And so whenever I do gameplay and testing, it's never usually to play the game, it's just to see if it's working. But this wheel sensitivity for this game looks really tight, so I'm gonna adjust this down. Let's just adjust it down a bit. So it has a paddle setting, so I can go to analog control settings and see my paddle center digital speed is 3 and this is 5. Let's cut that in half. Let's see how that does. Here, it's pretty like sensitive. Like if I barely turn it, it's like moving all the way already. Let me turn it down all the way to 1. Sometimes that's the best, where you just turn your sensitivity settings like all the way down to 1, and then you adjust up from there to see how it goes. Like I changed the paddle settings all the way down to 1, and it's almost the same. I might just leave it here because then there's nothing else you can do. I'm barely turning it, and like I'm jumping to the left and to the right. So that sometimes like can't really do anything about it. Like there's only so much you can do with emulation. So, like I turned the sensitivity down all the way, and I'm still like moving left to right. So you just gotta be careful with these things. Yeah, that's pedal. That's it. All right, nothing we can do, but at least it's working. At least it's working. Thanks, EPT Cyclone. I appreciate that. Bees is the bee's knees of mods. I like that. Hey, Brian, what's going on? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys are at. All right, we're mapping some more games. Here is Off-Road. Ivan Stewart's Off-Road. I don't even know if that's how you would say Ivan Stewart. Sounds like Ivan. Sounds very my fake Russian accent. Okay, so corner 1 button, 4 pedal, 5 button number 2. All right, let's test it out again. I used to love off-road so much, but I was terrible at it. All right. Birthday. Look at this. For anybody that's playing in the year, I forgot that you can do all that stuff for off-road. I didn't do it. Is that the red one? The red one. Turning good. Yeah, the sensitivity on this is much better than when I was playing USA Championship Sprint. Go, 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 go. No, I'm turning all the way. Oh. Damn, not too bad. It's a turbo. Nitro. It's nitro in this game. It's not turbo. Nitro. All right, let's do our turbo. Nitro. Boom. I remember off-road was so fun because you can upgrade your cars and get really fast too. Oh, I love playing off-road. Yes. Oh, I might actually win a race, guys. This is like the first game that I'm playing at. 3 nitros. All right, let's do it. Boom. Yes. Oh, money bag. You need that so you can upgrade. Oh, let's let this be the last lap. Oh no, I have one more lap to go. Yes. Alright, I'm actually enjoying myself because I'm actually winning a game finally. Boom. And, oh, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. Yes! I actually won a game. Yes, off-road on the Star Wars Yoke is super fun. Woohoo! Alright, BBB. Oh yeah, you upgrade your nitros. This is just a little bit sensitive when you're turning. I would love to keep playing, but I'm gonna exit for right now. What's going on? Hey, Keon, what's going on? Thanks for joining in. I remember most of these games and love the ones at the steering wheel at the arcade. What's up? Good. All right, so off road was pretty fun. Glad that I actually won. Lethal Crash Race. Ooh, this is an interesting Japanese vertical game. Yeah, I've seen it. It's pretty fun. All right, input this machine. We're going to add this as our gas. This is our brake. Button number 3. Okay, exit. Crash race. Push the cars. Brazil. Driving to Brazil. Another snow day, John. Oh man, I can't imagine. Go. Alright. It's weird, like driving in this vertical. I mean, it's kind of like that Spy Hunter style. I don't know if I like these racing games. It's kind of hard because you don't know where you're going. You can kind of like crash into stuff. All right, crash. The game is called Lethal Crash Race. I don't know if you're supposed to be like doing something like Top 10, Mario Kart style or something. Lethal Crash Race. That's what this is. Oh, I'm reading it. I'm winning. I'm winning. In Brazil, you're driving into moats, into little boats. And I crossed the river. No, what's with all these little lakes or little river jumps? I'm so bad at these games. So terrible. Oh, I don't claim to be an expert in gaming at all, but at least it works. That's all I can do. All I can do is make sure that the game actually works itself. All right, Mad Gear. All right, here we go. Let's try out some Mad Gear and get this one setting. Input machine, button number 1. Keon, if you're interested in having modding up your Star Wars join my Facebook group. The link in the description. There's a lot of information on modding it yourself, with the mod kits, or even have limited commission services too. So yeah, join the group for the best way to check that out. All right, so here we go. This was Mad Gear. I think this is one where you race, but I think forward on this game is actually move. So that's a jump.
You're running out of energy. You're running out of energy.
The up button is actually gas, so I'm going to change the up button to this button here.
Sorry to move, but we run out of energy.
And see if that does it. This up. Okay. All right, let's try it one more time. I want this button to be a gas button. Keon, you say everything needs Facebook. You got an ex-girlfriend haunting you. You can also email me at kongzarust.arcade@gmail.com. So you can email me too. Alright, cool. So now I have this button with the gas. It feels much better now having the button with the gas instead of pushing forward with the gas. And then this game, somebody is on, they gotta wiggle them off. Oh man, that's how you
Energy.
pretty fun game.
Jump.
Jump!
Energy.
Jump! Oh, jump! Oh, he crashed, totally crashed.
Energy. Whoa.
Alright, I gotta get the hang of this. Alright.
You're running out of
Oh, it's so bad. Okay, keep going.
Energy.
Energy red. Here's it around the side.
I'm sorry to say, but we've
Game
run out.
over. Game over. What's up, Chris? Rally X. I don't think I have Rally X on here. I have Rad Rally, or I don't even have Rad Rally. I have Rad Mobile. I don't have Rad Rally. All right. Dream of a sit-down function afterburner cab. Ooh, afterburner. I played some afterburner earlier on a previous thing. I have a flying build for afterburner 2. Drunk driving at its finest. What's up, guys? All right. Let's do. Oh, this is Mio Miglia 2. So this is one of those diagonal racing games as well. Mapping games. Let's see how we can. There's so many fun racing games that like I never heard of growing up. Like I never played this in an arcade. I've never seen an arcade machine for this. That's the beauty of emulation. That sometimes you get to discover new games and I'll just have fun with it and find out cool stuff. Oh, the arrows are on the floor for this one. I like the classic racing. I want to say they look like very elongated phallic mobiles, like a phallic mobile. Giant penis on wheels. Sorry, I said it out loud. But that's how they used to race. State-of-the-art racing back in the day. Classic racing. You gotta pay attention to the stripes on the floor for this one. I guess that's how they would have it in real life. You look at the floor. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Race to finish.
Race to finish. Hitting cones. I'm hitting all these cones. And I timed out. Terrible. Oh, thanks for that. You said the voice is low? Alright, maybe I gotta turn down the volume on the cab. Is that better, Chris? Thanks for the feedback. Bump and jump. The game was Mad Gear, the earlier one that I was playing. That's what you're guessing out. All right. Sound from the game is drowning you out. All right. All right, I'm gonna turn down the sound from the game then. I turned it up earlier, but it's really bad. Okay, let me just turn it up to there. All right, and now we have good old Outrun. Tell me a little bit if it's better. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? No? Tell me how the sound is on the sound system. I turn down the volume on my PC. I have no idea if that's changing it because I'm hearing the sound from the speakers and I don't know how it's sounding on my end. Okay, so that's gas. This is brake. Okay. Push start.
Get ready.
Good old Outrun. This is such a chill game. I actually really like playing Outrun originally when I was on the Outrun tab itself. But Outrun 2 is my favorite. Outrun 2 is super fun. Super chill. Game's playing really well. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Talking. Alright, yeah, I turned on my volume a lot, Chris, so I appreciate that so you can hear exactly a little bit of what I'm doing while I'm playing. You didn't really need to hear anything I was saying anyways. All I usually say is like, I'm terrible at these games while I'm playing it. And that's pretty much it. Alright, Hot Runners. See if we can get through this list. Maybe I'll stop at Outrunners and then I'm gonna jump over to Model 3 and double check my Model 3 games and then Model 2 games. So MAME is pretty straightforward. I can probably do the rest of these MAME games later. Okay, let's see, button number 1. That was 3. Curious why I did this setup before. I remember which letters or numbers were in my previous setup. So guess button number 4 Okay, let's break. Let's test it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right.
This is MRS, the Mega Radio Station. This is Jay talking to you from This program is brought to you by Sega.
You're in car number 1. Ready, go!
Better analog.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Sorry if the game volume is drowning everything out. All right. The video is good, but the game video was laggy. All right, that's okay. We're a low budget YouTube channel here. Sorry, I can only work with the internet speed that I got going on. All right, so I'm gonna stop at Outrunners for the classic racing games. I'm gonna switch my LaunchBox to my Model 3 games, and let's do Model 3. So I'm gonna change this playlist to platform, and now you can see all the games that are done by like Model 2 or Model 3. So I actually have a good number of Model 2, Model 3 games like Daytona 2. Maybe I'll do Model 2 first because it's a little bit trickier, and then we'll go into Model 3, and then I might end the stream after about an hour or so. Okay, so for Model 2 games, you have to map everything individually by game. And so it's not something where you can universally set it in the emulator, and you can't go into the game like tab. So once you open up the game, start with we'll do Daytona because Daytona is awesome. So when we open the Sega Model 2 emulator itself, this is what it looks like when it pops open. If I run the game itself, it's gonna run in full screen because in the video section, I have it set to auto switch to full screen. So I'm gonna uncheck this, and then I'm gonna go to emulator and load the ROM from this file section. So once I do this, then it's gonna load it in this smaller window. So when the game runs in the small window, you'll get access to this game section that says configure controls. And that's how you map the games for everything in Sega Model 2. It's a little bit tricky because you can't, hit tab and you can't do it while you're running the game. You have to do it in this windowed mode to get Sega Model 2 games running. So for steering, let's see. So this is one of those ones where I'm still figuring and learning things out myself for a lot of things. And so if anybody's a Sega Model 2 expert for stuff, what I've been trying to do eventually is change this back to a button for steering. But it won't let me change the control back to a steering wheel if it's already been set to an analog stick. So for all my racing games on Sega Model 2, I have it set using the wheel for an analog device, the y-axis, and so it registers it and it works well, but it's just one of those ones where I can't set it back to a button. So unfortunately for Sega Model 2 games, I have the accelerator set to moving forward on the yoke and back. I might need to just delete my Sega Model 2 emulator and start from scratch because I've already had it set to this. Once you check the box here, you can map a control to it. But I haven't figured out how to send it back. So maybe Brad can help me. Brad, Starfit. Brad says my Starcade configs were like Rosetta Stone that helped me. Well, Brad, I need the favor. I need you to go into Sega Model 2 and then tell me how to undo my analog settings for steering wheels so I can change it back to a button. So I'm putting you on a task, Brad. Brad Diedrichs, my good buddy, Gun King. I have a gun mods coming on the way. I have the I ordered the AliExpress guns, the arcade aliens guns. They're on the way. I think they're like really close to being here too. I think they're gonna be here in the next couple weeks. So I'm hoping to do some content there. My buddy to die for. Bobby Vu and I have been working on a dedicated shooter cab using the Game Room Solutions cab. So I hope we can finish that up soon too, because I have my Sindens on the way. It's getting close to, uh, getting close to March. We're just getting there. Brad, are you making fun of me? Maybe Brad can help me. Wahahaha. I'm calling you out, sir. Good sir. I need a favor. It's been a while. Brad says, be on the lookout for this AliExpress gun. Rumor is almost all of them have their pots wired backwards. Well, that's fun. You know me. I love getting into the pot stuff and checking everything out. That should be no problem if we're going to swap a pot thing here or there. So that would be no problem. Like hard wiring and doing all the wiring stuff is like, I think that comes more naturally and easy to me because it's very like, you plug this into that, you make sure it's grounded, it works. The software side of stuff, even though I set up this playlist, man, it was a headache. So anybody who's ever done emulation and trying to map stuff knows how much of a headache it can be. All right, so I think I need to. Oh, I need to set up my start and coin buttons at least. So let's set this to coin. Let's set my coin button and my start button. I don't think I need to do anything else. I'm just gonna set the VR buttons here. I usually don't do manual mode and driving. So if you're playing with the yoke, you really don't do anything else. And so yeah, I usually just have gas, brake, start, coin for most of these. Do auto save and double. Let's play some Daytona. All right, Daytona. Daytona.
Please select a race course. Beginner. Please choose manual or automatic transmission. Gentlemen, start your engine.
Rolling start. So now I have to hold my yoke forward. Oh my goodness. What's going on? Why am I controlling way off? Something's up with my controls. I think my steering is like set, but my x-axis is like automatically pulling to the left. Alright. Something happened when I was trying to reset my wheel offset. Alright, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's exit. Maybe I messed it up when I was doing something. Alright, let's go back to right click, Sega Model 2, load ROM, Daytona Special. Oh, I forgot I have to configure controls. Oh, I changed it to steering. That's why I was doing the wrong thing. Whoops. Alright, I changed my steering to the y-axis instead. I don't want to invert it. I want my left. Right. Okay. So that's my steering. I was trying to get my accelerate and brake to a button. That's what I can't do. I can't get it to go back to a button. Switch to full screen.
Please select a race course.
Right. Oh yeah. The speaker asking a question about shooter games or mods. Talk to Mr. Brad Diedrich. He's the gun king.
Gentlemen,
Takes a lot of
start
configuring.
your engine.
Done. But it takes a lot of configuring. Light guns is one of those things that, again, I started down the path of it, but I've not really gotten that deep into it because I know it's going to take a lot of work. All right, that's much better. That's much better. And of course, I the steering looks pretty good. Daytona, classic Model 2 game. Daytona. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. The updated techno parrot version of Daytona looks really nice too. I mean, there's been so many versions of this game. Check it out. Yeah, since I launched this from the emulator, that's why it's not exiting because it's not launching through LaunchBox. Cool. So Daytona works. So again, that's what you have to do for Model 2 games. You have to again right click it and jump into the game and set that up. All right, but let's get into Model 3. Model 3 is a little bit even more difficult, but at least it's more universally mappable than Model 2 games. Okay. Chris is saying, B, talk about your DDR plans. Oh my goodness. All right, so quick side tangent. There was a post in the Arcade One Up mounting groups. I think it was like Dave Grams or somebody else that started posting a metal DDR pad. And it totally got me like, oh, hey, good morning.
Morning.
I have a guest here. Ugh. Kenny, do you know what DDR is?
No.
No? All right, this is my son. This is Kenny. All right, and so we're going to take you back to when your daddy was in college at UCLA. All right, so DDR is called Dance Dance Revolution. You know what that is?
Well, I think so. You have that game in Max's room.
All right, I might have to end my stream early because look, I have my whole family that's joining, so we're all hanging out. So DDR Dance Dance Revolution is a game where you step on 4 arrows and you dance while you're doing it. So we can play some dancing games while you're playing video games. It was like the biggest, awesomest thing in the early 2000s, where your daddy was the treasurer of the UCLA DDR club. What?
Is that really
Good
true?
morning. It was true. Yeah, I played DDR so much in college.
Daddy.
Good morning, and then so then
Wasn't there one in the Redondo Beach Fun Factory?
yes. So yeah, when we go to our local arcade too, we would also play DDR, and now when I try playing, I pretty much can get through one song, and then it's pretty much over at that point. So it's pretty over. Oh man. All right, let's see what's going on, guys. We have about a couple of folks saying hello. I know, Billy, you guys, you're saying you're missing the cat. Unfortunately, my cat passed away last month. We're super sad. I know. Yeah, that was sad times.
Yeah,
Yes, he did. He died. That's not funny, silly girl. We miss Maximus for sure.
Yeah.
All right, can you guys go get dressed?
Okay.
Go get dressed. Go get dressed, okay? All right. I know, Billy. No, I know. I miss my cat so much. But he had cancer like in late December, and so passed away on January 9th. So sad times for the family. Really wish it could have gone a little bit better at the end of his life, but it is what it is. We all love our pets, right? They always have a special place in our hearts. Okay. Since my kids are awake and I probably need to end this stream pretty soon, I'm just going to go over Model 3 really quick and then I'll call it a day. So, I mean, there's not a ton of racing games on here, but for Model 3, I'm going to go back to my file folder structure. So for LaunchBox, I have my Model 3 emulator here. And this is a Model 3 emulator that normally the emulator itself is called Supermodel, but there's no actual front end for it itself. You have to, if there's a version of it where you can get the Sega Model 3 UI, where you can open this up, and it is sort of like a GUI. It's an interface for you to be able to map controls. And so if you use this this UI and go to Control and Config, it'll take you to like this DOS menu, like a command line type menu here. And then from here, you can map your controls, and it's going to write a custom INI file, which is what your controls run. So this is why it's a little bit tricky if you're not familiar with what you're doing. So all you got to do to navigate these controls is just, it's going to walk through all the different game commands, the general ones. So start, coin, player 1 start is button 1.9. So you actually got to start from the beginning. So player 1 start, I'm going to press the enter button and then map my little controller button. And it's going to change it from Joy 1 button 9, which is what my previous one was, to Joy 1 button 7. And then I don't have a player 2 start, so I'm going to skip that. My player 2 coin, I press enter, and then I'm going to press the button. So, I mean, you can like go through this. You just have to like look exactly what you're doing. Service key is going to stay number 5, so we don't need to do anything to service. 4-way joysticks. I don't think we need to do anything for that. We don't have any fighting games on our build. Spike out, we're not playing volleyball. Virtual striker, we're not doing anything. Racing games, here we go. So racing steer left and right should be the same, but let's just start from the beginning. So steering wheel left, we press the button, we're going to move our yoke to the left. And then steering wheel right, press the button, we move our yoke to the right. Full steering access, so So we're going to joy 1 inverse. We're just going to leave that the same. Accelerator. So right now this is button number 6. So now we're going to press this, and then we're going to press this top right button, which is button 3 now. The brake is going to be, front brake is button number 4 here. Shift up. I don't think we have a shift up. Oh, joy 2. So we don't have a second shifter, so we're not going to do a shifter. Racing game, VR buttons. 1, 2. Do I want to do that? 7, 8, 1, 2. We can do. Right. 1, 2. I have these other big buttons here, so might as well use them. Okay, shift key, we're not doing anything with. 4 game racing. All right, VR buttons. Let's change it to this. All right, VR buttons, racing view change. Oh, view change button. We're gonna make the view change button this big red button over here. Racing game handbrake, button number 1. I don't really think I need this. Handbrake, rear brake. All right, Harley Davidson controls. So yeah, you just have to go through each one of these. It's a little bit funky, but I think I'm gonna leave my virtual on controls the same. All right, let me go back to Harley Davidson rear brake. Oh, music selection. Let's do music selection as this. And rear brake. Let's make that this one. Okay. Virtual on. Pretty awesome. Let's double check our games for this. And then I'll probably map, Mago 3 uses Trilogy. So that's the other thing you want to map in here. This was actually one of the first emulators I learned how to do. Okay, Joy 5 negative access. Left shot trigger, here we go. Left shot trigger. Button number 5 was this one. Right shot trigger. This one. Left turbo. Here. Right turbo. Here. Okay, analog left, right, up, down. Oh, so this is the Sega model, the Star Wars Trilogy command line. All right, so I'm gonna skip all the rest of this stuff right now because I want to show you how this writes to everything. So once you actually finish mapping all your controls in Sega Model 3, again, this is tedious work. All right, so what that did was, if I close this, if you go to your Sega Model 3 folder and go to config, there's this supermodel.ini. You can see the last date modded was today. If I right click it and then go to open with Notepad++, which I recommend, it opens up this text file and you can see exactly what we did. It just kind of writes the input to whatever button you just did. But instead of using that GUI, you can actually just type into here your button controls if you actually have it mapped out correctly. So that's another way you can do it too. So for example, for this analog stick here, these analog inputs, Joy button 5 and 1, this is my mapping for Star Wars Trilogy. The original settings actually label it way better than this. So I think this is like my OG Supermodel. So yeah, so when you first download Supermodel 3, it actually writes out what it's for. So like you can see this is the fighting games one. This was for virtual on. This was for analog stick for Star Wars Trilogy. It actually labels it more clearly for you, but when you use that UI, then it doesn't. It gets rid of that stuff. So I'm gonna go in here and just double check and change my buttons to my button numbers instead. So button number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is gonna be button 1. Okay, here we go. Joy button 1, joy button 2, and this is gonna be joy button 3, and joy button 4. Okay. Actually, I think I'm gonna change my event buttons to one of the top triggers instead. Let's do event. We'll make the event buttons the top triggers. I think that's gonna be better. So I'm gonna do joy button 4 and 3 as the event buttons. We'll do trigger 1 as joy button 1 and trigger 2 as joy button 2. I'm saying this out loud, but I think this will work better with our setup here. So trigger 1 is button 1, trigger 2 is button 2, event 1, 3, and 4. All right, so we'll save this. So we'll test out Star Wars Trilogy. We'll test out a racing game, and then we'll call it a day. All right, so let's test out Daytona 2. Here we go, Daytona 2. Hopefully I got my controls right. Man, that was probably really boring. Sorry, controller mapping is not very exciting. I'm sorry, but the end result.
Select the race course.
Play your game.
Normal
I mapped
mode.
out my controls and I pressed my buttons. And
Gentlemen,
this
start your engine.
Auto drive is now on. Good so far. Oh yeah, that. Ooh, 1 or 2. It's actually really nice. Alright, so we were successful in knocking our people to Model 3. Okay, so we exit out of that, and of course, I don't know if YouTube is going to dock me if I play the music on this game or not. We'll see, because it might recognize it, but I'll try to keep talking. But Star Wars Trilogy is the reason why I even started this whole escapade of modding a Star Wars yoke, because I really wanted to play this game using a yoke or on my Star Wars cap. It was the main goal. So I hope you guys are having fun, enjoying, but this is absolutely the best reason to play or to mod your cab. Like this game is amazing and it plays so fun on a yoke. I know the original control. This so yeah, I'm gonna keep talking really loudly so that I don't. Hopefully the music cue doesn't catch on YouTube. But we'll see. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But the really cool thing about the GRS Yoke too is that like when you fire, you get all these like super clicky clicks, and I'm kind of a fan, but it definitely is loud. So you definitely have to crank up the volume on your arcade so that doesn't kind of annoy you. And I don't know if the original Yoke had these clicky feel. The only weird thing is that the top one begins to have that clicky, but I like it. When you're playing a game like this, good deal. Oh yeah. I could play this game all day long. I can tell you the first time I did this mod, this is like the only. I had so many other games that were on my playlist, but this was like an everyday. It's been a long time since I played this, so this has been fun playing this game and hanging out with you guys. So I appreciate everybody that's joining in. I just pressed my event button to call in some folks. So the event button for the GRS Yoke, again, I don't have it mapped to remap anything, you won't see anything. But I remapped the buttons to the event buttons to the top ones. All right. Powers. Oh, this game plays so well. In case you're wondering about the specs on the PC that I'm running to run this, I mean, we really don't need that powerful of a GPU to run this trilogy. But this is my standard budget PC build using i5, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and I think I have a GTX 1050 Ti in this PC build right now. See if I can take out that extra fighter. Gotta shoot this one. Boom. Gotta see Vader. Hi, Vader. The accuracy on the GRS Yoke is really nice too. Like I'm holding it and like it's not moving. Sometimes you see the sensitivity on the cursor moving a lot, but this feels really good. All right, I got him. Bye bye. There goes Vader. Vader's gone. Brad, you're saying any second now YouTube's gonna end the stream. Probably will. Who knows? I don't care. This is the most fun I've had in a long time playing this game, so I'm gonna keep talking and hope it doesn't just automatically cut me off. I like living on the wild side. We're living on the edge, right, guys? Oh, and I died. Man, I've never really died in the middle of a game before. Man. Good. All right, we're almost there. We're almost there. Coming up soon. All right, maybe they're gonna recognize this movement. Negative. It didn't go in. It didn't go in. It didn't go in. Sorry, I can't stay with you. No, go, go. Almost there. Almost there. Pew, 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 pew. Boom, boom. All right. Here it is, guys. Here it is. Torpedoes. I remember doing this in the arcade. Nope, didn't go in. There it is. It's a hit. We did it. We saved the Rebel Alliance. It just took me 3/4 to do it. All right, so that's trilogy. All right. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out today. It's been a fun just morning hanging out. So I mapped out several classic arcade games in MAME. We went over how to do Model 2 emulation. We did a little bit of Model 3 emulation as well. So hopefully that was helpful for anybody that hung out and watched it. I don't know if this is going to be helpful for folks in the future, but I will be back probably doing some more, not live modding. Maybe in my group I'll just be posting it, but it's kind of tackling my playlist a little bit at a time, chipping away. You can see in total for about an hour, probably only got about through a dozen plus games or so for mapping because you need to map the controls, do a little bit of testing, because I want to make sure that everything is working right on my playlist and make sure everything's good and going. So thank you guys all for checking it out. Appreciate you and have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks, guys. Gabe says it was awesome. Dick's been here the whole time. I love how Brat was saying any second now. I'm still here. You guys are still watching me. The Skinny Biker says, great stream. Thanks, guys, from the UK. Thanks joining from all the way from the UK. Thanks, Latif, joining in. Hope you guys have a good one. Talk to you guys later. Bye.